Welcome! Today, we are going to tackle one of the most exciting and kind of mysterious parts of creating anything digital. How in the world do you take that little spark of an idea, that what-if moment, and turn it into a solid plan you can actually build? Well, let's get into it.
I mean, that's the big question, right? We all use these amazing apps that just feel so smart and easy to use. But here's the secret. They don't just appear out of thin air. Nope. They start as a total mess, a huge flood of possibilities that have to be carefully shaped and structured. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that exact process.
To make this all a bit more real, we're going to bring back a character you might remember, Busy Melis. So Melis is a professional, she's always on the go, and she really struggles to find time to eat healthy. We know her problem, but what's the solution? Is it a recipe app, a delivery service, maybe some AI coach? Let's figure it out together.
All right, our first stop is what I love to call the creative marathon. This is the phase where we just throw all the rules out the window. It's all about letting the ideas flow, generating as many options as you can possibly think of, no matter how wild or crazy they might seem.
Now, the official term for this is ideation, and it's all about divergence. I want you to think of it like a river delta, spreading out into dozens of little streams going in every possible direction. The goal here isn't to find the one right answer, it's to find all the possible answers.
And this slide right here, this is the single most important rule of this entire phase. Quantity over quality. Seriously, your first idea is almost never your best idea. To find that one diamond, you've got to be willing to sift through a whole lot of rock. We're aiming for dozens, maybe even hundreds of ideas, because that's how you stumble onto something truly new. Right now, there is no such thing as a bad idea.
The classic way to do this, of course, is brainstorming, but it only works if you stick to the rules. First, you have to defer all judgment. That means no, oh, that'll never work, or that's too expensive. Second, you have to encourage the wildest ideas you can. And most important, build on what other people are saying. One person's silly idea might spark someone else's genius idea. It's all about creating a massive pile of possibilities.
So classic brainstorming is awesome, but let's be real. Sometimes you're on a tight deadline. What if you need to force some of those creative breakthroughs in a really short amount of time? Well, lucky for us, there's a fantastic technique for exactly that.
It's called Crazy Eights. It's simple, it's intense, and it's so effective. You just grab a piece of paper, fold it into 8 squares, and then you set a timer. You have just 1 minute to sketch one idea in each square. And listen, you do not need to be an artist. Stick figures, boxes, arrows, that's perfect. The whole point is just to get the idea out of your head and onto paper super fast.
Another really powerful tool is Scamper. Think of it like a cheat sheet for remixing ideas. Each letter is a different prompt to get you thinking differently. So for Melis's app, you could combine it with a grocery delivery service. Or, and this is my favorite one, you could reverse the whole thing. Instead of looking for recipes, what if users just input the ingredients they already have and the app tells them what they can make? It's a brilliant way to find a totally new angle.
Okay, so we've just created this huge, messy, beautiful flood of ideas. Now comes the tricky part. We have to switch gears and start funneling all of that creative chaos down into one single, strong concept that we can actually build.
This slide just illustrates that pivot perfectly. We just finished divergence, the flood, right? We went super wide, we explored everything, quantity over quality was the name of the game, but now we're flipping the switch and entering convergence, the funnel. Here, we start making decisions. We narrow our focus. The goal is no longer more ideas, it's the best idea.
The main tool we use for this is the conceptual model. And look, this isn't about getting into all the technical details. It's really just the elevator pitch for your product. It's one clear, simple sentence that explains the big idea and gives your whole team a direction to follow.
So, after all that brainstorming for Busy Melis, we might land on this as our conceptual model. And notice how it actually combines a few of our different ideas, right? We've got the personalization, the automatic shopping list, and we even pulled in that idea to combine it with grocery delivery. Now it's a clear, focused vision.
So we have our big idea. We know what we're building. Now we have to give it a skeleton. This last phase is all about taking that abstract concept and translating it into a concrete, physical structure.
We start with something called information architecture, or IA for short. You can think of this as the invisible blueprint for your product. It's the deep-down logic of how everything is organized and connected, and its whole job is to make sure users can find what they need without even having to think about it.
Honestly, the best way to think about IA is to imagine you're organizing a supermarket. You know exactly where to find the milk because all the dairy products are grouped together in one aisle.
Good IA does the same thing for your app. It creates these logical aisles for your features, so a user never gets lost trying to find something.
So if information architecture is all about designing the aisles of our digital store, the very next step is to figure out how to arrange the products on each and every shelf.
And we do that with wireframes. A wireframe is just a very simple, low-tech sketch of a single screen. I want you to think of it like the architectural blueprint for a room, long before you start worrying about what color to paint the walls or what kind of furniture to buy. Now, it is so important to understand what a wireframe is for, and just as important, what it is not for. It is all about structure, layout, and function. What's the most important thing on this page? Where does the main button need to go? It completely, 100% ignores all visual design. No colors, no fancy fonts, no logos, all of that stuff comes much, much later.
So, for Melissa's recipe screen, the wireframe wouldn't be a beautiful photo of food. It would be this, a simple blueprint. A big box where the image will go, a placeholder for the title, a spot for a bulleted list of ingredients, a simple rectangle for a button. This forces us to get the layout and the flow just right before we ever get distracted by the visuals.
So there you have it. From a vague problem to a flood of ideas, funneled down into one single concept, and finally, given a structural skeleton. That is the journey from a tiny spark to a real thing. Every single app on your phone, every website you love, it started exactly like this, with a simple sketch. So, the only question left is, what are you going to build first?